Okay, so today we will discuss about World Wide Web and which is popularly known as WWW and Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which we say HTTP. Okay, so these are quite common terms which most of us are familiar with. You can hear me, no? You can hear me? Yeah, right. So this web is now nearly 31 years old, and World Wide Web, and it was invented by this guy, Tim Berners-Lee. Tim Berners-Lee is regarded as the inventor of World Wide Web. So actually, this has its origin in this CERN project. Most of you have heard about this Large Hadron Collider. So this project, in the early days, the researchers, they wanted to exchange data among themselves, among each other. So this was the WWW was an outcome of this requirement, this need. And so the key idea here is that web is both distributed. It's a distributed thing. So we are here in application layer. That's what first we need to mention. We started all the way from OSI TCP IP model, then we discussed some things from physical layer, okay, and we discussed topics from physical layer, okay, and someone requested permission to join the class, vanished, okay, and this we saw Ethernet. Then we didn't discuss anything about the wireless LAN protocols, Wi-Fi and all those things. I suggest you read up those things. Then we went to the network layer. We discussed quite in detail about IP addresses, all those things. Then that is the internet layer. The internet layer, the TCP IP protocol stack actually begins from this on. The below layers are left just like that. So IP layer is there. We discuss about some IP support protocols, especially ARP, IGMP, ICMP. I have given you you can refer the notes there. Then coming to this transport layer, we saw two dominant protocols, TCP and UDP, transmission control protocol and user datagram protocol. So this provides a reliable link, and this is an unreliable service. So and we now discuss say application layer. We already discussed DNS. We need to discuss a couple of these application layer things. So today we will discuss about HTTP also. Okay. So as mentioned, this World Wide Web is a distributed thing. Distributed in the sense the content in the web is distributed over different servers. You call them as web servers, okay, and you are remotely accessing a user is presented with an interface via something which is called as a browser, and these web pages can be linked. This you see the picture here. We now call it as hyperlinks, or earlier days it used to be called as hypertext. So this text is linking to some other page which may be stored on the same computer or a different computer. Okay, this is what is shown. It might be the page or the document might be on the same computer or a different computer, and you could access that thing. You are actually making a request to some computer which you call as a web server, which stores these documents, and so client is able to access. So this provides a page. You call it as a web page, and which is unique. You will you will type in say cet.ac.in, means that's a unique page, and in that you will have different departments, different documents there. Say you have say academic calendar, all those things. So all are resources which are located on this. So CET website might provide links to other sites also, maybe KTU site. So that is on a different server. So So that's the purpose of hypertext and hypermedia. Now we talk about hypermedia because we have multimedia content. You are not talking about just about documents, Word documents or text documents. Rather, we have it could be a audio file or a video file, whatever. So basically, this follows World Wide Web follows a client-server architecture, client-server paradigm. So the client is requesting something from a server and it delivers. So we see that two of the most commonly used protocols for this purpose is HTTP and other one is FTP, file transfer protocol. These two are there. So to make a request and get the response. So request response, that's the architecture. So again, coming to this, so we access the web using these things, web browsers. Different browsers are there. The dominant one is this Chrome. There are now Edge is not here. So Firefox, Safari, Opera, all those different and several browsers are there. So a lot of flavors. Most of the people now access web using their mobiles. So mobile phones on mobile devices. So the actually the web access from mobile devices are ever on increasing, more than this. So almost all browsers have the same structure in the sense there will be a controller which will be receiving inputs from your keyboard, mouse, touch screen, whatever, and there will be some protocol which will be used to communicate to, so that is to the web server and access the document, and finally some interpreters, say it might be an HTML document or a JavaScript document or whatever, Flash, whatever, some interpreters will be there which will be presenting this information to the client. So this is how you, so sometimes we say the unable to display content because you don't have the required plugin. Usually the Adobe Flash plugins might be missing. So that is all the role of the interpreters. So controller is basically accepting the inputs via mouse, touch screen, keyboard, whatever, or even voice. Yeah, Google search, voice search is there. And again, the protocols, one or more protocols might be there which would be used to access this information from the remote server, and the interpreters will present this information to the client. So that's the basic architecture of almost all the browsers. Okay, so even Google Chrome is built on an open source project. Chromium browser is an open source browser, and Google has added its proprietary things to this open source project, and it is collecting a lot of data about the users with our consent and knowingly, unknowingly, whatever, and it's trying to use that data for its purposes. It's for, we are accepting a lot of things when we click install the browser. So that's your we don't have time to read what is written there. In small, a lot of text is coming up. So there is a web server. Web server is actually the we mentioned that this is what delivers, has the content loaded there, and it might be earlier days it used to be static pages. We'll see there are different types of documents, static as well as active documents are there. So pictures, so music files, MP3 files, audio files, it might be raw data even. So anyway, whatever, it's stored on a web browser and it is delivered to the user. So web server is the software. You can say it is a PC or it is a part of a PC. Maybe several servers, they are coexisting on the same machine. That's also possible. So to define a web page, we are aware of this thing. We need say three components. We need three components. First is you need to identify the host. That is, say host is the say we already saw DNS. Say we say cet.ac.in means it has an IP address associated with it, which is resolved by the DNS. You are aware? Yes, I suppose you are aware of that. DNS, you attended DNS? You remember DNS is resolved in DNS recursive resolution. We did discuss, did we? Yes. Are these people there, or I am just taking the class for so anyway, there is the resolution, the address resolution, and all those things are part of the DNS mechanism. So recursive mechanisms are there. We saw two types of address resolutions. Now and also you can specify the port number for, so even before that you need to specify the protocol. Say in your browser we never now type out http:// it's understood it is HTTP, but there is HTTPS also, secure, especially say banking sites and all those things. It provides much higher degree of confidentiality when accessing so there is no absolute security by the way, but still it provides a security above. It runs over SSL, secure socket layer. So that's the advantage of HTTPS. So anyway, you need to specify the protocol, HTTP or HTTPS, then the host, and host in the sense, say in this case I have given an example at ti.com, then the path. So yeah, I am going to look for a path. This is for IC 7400 NAND gate. So this is in this folder, lit/pdf/ so you don't give all these paths. Actually your Google makes all those things simpler. You search 7400 data sheet, means it gives you a link and you click that, it goes. That's behind the scenes the DNS is working to resolve this ti.com to the correct IP. Okay. So and HTTP uses the port number 80. Default it is 80. You need to specify default port number is 80, and HTTPS is 443. File transfer protocol 2021. Client and server side. So and again this is the say these are two common formats. So by default we understand it is port 80, otherwise it is specified. So your banking sites and all it will default to 443. There won't be an HTTP variant there. Okay, so it depends how it is implemented. So you can group this documents on the web into two categories. One is what you call as a static document. So a static document is, for instance, our college website. No, it has some flash content there. Say it is a fixed content, just like you check up the website of what do you say? Can you give me an example of a static? Yeah, a blog can be a fixed content. So blog can be fixed content. You are just don't have any dynamic elements there. Whatever was created, it's there, it's presented like that. User cannot modify this document. So usually you make these things using HTML. You have other tools also, HTML, so XML, all those formats are used, languages are used to write those documents. So HTML is the most common one. Okay, so that's how you make a static document. A dynamic document, on the other hand, is the content changes. Dynamic document, so you, as we mentioned, so the client makes a request and the server responds to that request. So you request for a document and then it gives. So for instance, you are searching for say you are going to the Amazon website, right, and you search for a product you give the search filter criteria, all those things. So it's a dynamic page that is delivered, because there is a program which runs at the server side as well as on the client side also, some cases. So anyway, there is a server side program which runs, or a script that runs, and it delivers a document. So you search for for example, you search for what can we search? Say a mobile phone with a price range of say 20,000 rupees, and with 10 cameras, and 1 terabyte. Amazon will say it knows its product available, right? So it's you can specify the brand also, say these many brands. So it's a dynamic thing. So this content is varying from each request, or from request to request it varies. The document which is delivered to the client varies. It's not a static content, rather it's a dynamic content. And there could be two options. Either you could have a script which is running at the server side for each request made by n clients. There could be n server side script that is running, or you could use client side scripting also. So server side scripting will deliver the page. There the program which runs this thing, the application program runs on the server end. Client side scripting maybe can be used to run an animation or video like that, flash, all those things. It could be embedded, and the script will run on the locally on the client side, the client PC. So different tools like say JavaScript, Perl, PHP, Python, Ajax, all those things, these are used to make dynamic web documents. You have different tools, so basically they will be linked to some database. They will be linked to a database. The browser is just an interface. So many of you will be working on this web technologies. Okay. Now we see something about HTTP as well. HTTP. So that's regarding www, or World Wide Web. So World Wide Web is not internet, fully internet. It is a part of the internet. That will be the best thing to say. So this is what the internet which most of us know about. It's just a small fraction of the internet. Now HTTP is, as mentioned, it's a protocol. It's a protocol, as we mentioned. Say a protocol to access a resource. Okay, so it's one of the most commonly used protocols to access resources via browser, usually a browser. So so you retrieve web pages basically. So and HTTP is based on your TCP. It uses the TCP. It's a reliable thing. So if some content is not delivered, or it delivered out of order, so earlier in our earlier days, in our college days, say the net was the maximum, 64 kbps. What's the best speed? That was 64 kbps. 1 mbps, 2 mbps. There was in my hometown Cochin, there was a place where they used to say there is a 1 mbps ISDN connection, and we used to go there. There would be, and this 1 mbps is shared with say 10 or 15 computers. So but still it was far better than the 64 kbps connection, dial-up modem. Then ISDN came. BSNL, it was the good days of BSNL. That's what the best thing to say. So so every now and then there will be connection failures. Then some elements from the web page will be missing, especially the pictures. It will come like just like a scan, or a scan bowling in a way. ചിലപ്പോൾ പിക്ചർ വെക്കേണ്ട പ്ലേസ് ഹോൾഡർ എം ടി ആയിരിക്കും, അവിടെ ഒരു ഇൻഡു സൈനും ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ടാവും. So such days were there. Now we have much more. We are talking of much better reliable connections, and also the net speed has improved. Along with that, your media delivered is also becoming huge in size. So still a lot of people, especially the thing is that the internet connectivity is not good in most parts of our country. So still a lot of people will face the same old 1990s problem of poor quality in the connection. That still exists. So so anyway, it uses TCP. We discussed TCP. It's a reliable connection oriented protocol, and we discussed about port numbers. It's a temporary port numbers. The client uses a temporary port number, the server side uses the port 80. So we have the three-way handshake for the connection establishment. We saw a three-way handshake in TCP, and so anyway, that has to be there. There are two types of connections that's possible. One is what you call as a non-persistent TCP connection. The other one is what you call as a persistent TCP connection. So HTTP in a non-persistent TCP connection, for each and every document which your client requires, a new TCP connection is opened. So, and open means it is closed also. So that means there are 3 handshakes to open. The first handshake, second handshake, third handshake, and the request can be coupled together, and then the server responds with the required file, then it closes that connection. That's the process. Again, for a new for instance, I am loading a web page, and then in that web page I just see a thumbnail of an image. Then I click that web page. The thumbnail means a new TCP connection is made. So this is going to impose a lot of load in the, if you say client server programming, it is for each of these things the server has to reserve buffers, variables, allocate resources. That is going to impose a lot of load on the server, overhead. So as of now, this is obsolete thing, because we are using HTTP 2.0. So most browsers are HTTP 2.0. So 1.1, prior to 1.1, these were non-persistent connections. Now we have HTTP 2.0. So 2.0 has uses persistent TCP connection. So that is this is kept open. So the connection establishment is made, and then the first request is also made with the third handshake. And I'm not discussing about this TCP things, because we already dealt those things in detail. And then the response, the file comes. Again, the connection is not closed, rather it's kept open for the next request. So I see the thumbnail and I click it, then I get the image, then it happens. And only at the end of this full transaction, either the client or the server. So so usually the thing is that the client can terminate the connection once the need is over, or there could be a timeout. Could be specified. Or in case of dynamic pages, we don't know the length, so length of the data bytes. So in such cases, we'll see for the carriage return, means end of file character. The client will see the end of file character, and once the transaction is over, it will close the connection. So 3 options are there. Either you could have a timeout, or you could have an end of file type of specification. So client can observe the end of file character in the data transferred and then terminate the connection. So, or just arbitrarily it can close the connection at any point. So the different formats. So that is different formats are there. There is a HTTP request and response. So request and response. I don't want to get into the details of If you see the Tannenbaum text, not Faruzan textbook, you will see the header breakup, the different components of the header. I've just included a small gist of this. You could go through this textbook to find out more details about this. And security about HTTP doesn't provide any security as such. You have HTTPS, which is basically HTTP running over secure socket layer to provide an additional layer of security. So it is much better encrypted. It says it is you see for the lock symbol, all those things, isn't it? Very signed, trusted. I don't know whether it is secure or not. We believe that's it. So a lot of things are happening, and typically message HTTP messages. If you you could check up an HTTP message. So it starts with start line. So that is and this is the request. So start line equals this request or status. So that is what. So this is, it's a get, that is, it is get means it's a request, and then the version is 1.1, and this is a response by the server. This is a status line by the server. So that is, it's telling its protocol and its version, and so that's the status. Okay, this many bytes. So it's, and then followed by what do you say, header field. So header fields is the zero or more header fields, carriage, return or line feed. That is what is CRFL. So then an empty line, and then a message, the body of the message. So such things are there. So different header fields are there. So you could check up those things from the, I'll leave the slides with you so that you could read it. So this is the basically an HTML document which is there within this braces. So you can take a text file, type it out, save it as HTML. You could have create an HTML file. So this is an in brief about this is in brief about the www and HTTP. You could read more about this. Tomorrow we'll take up FTP, and we'll next day when you just let me know through your class rep when we can have the class. So our plan is to say cover most of the topics from the syllabus, so that you'll be comfortable reading on your own. So you'll get a roadmap as to what to study. So this syllabus seems very vast. So the initial parts and all we have covered in detail. The fifth and sixth module is mostly stories like this. Say congestion control, quality of service. That's we need to take that topic. That is looks like an essay question to me. So again we'll discuss about email. So SMTP and POP3, then MIME, and Symbol Network Management Protocol. We'll take it up later. Then we'll go to security. Security is a very what do you say? We'll see about security in the application layer, and transport layer and network layer. So that is divided into three. That is exam point of view. This could be essay type questions, say PGP, all those things. So then TLS, SSL, then firewalls and all those things are there. So we'll discuss some of these topics this week. Please let me know through your class rep when we can have class. Okay, class rep told me she won't be there in the class today. Let me just pause this recording.